So about, what, 2.5 minutes or so, Ben, until we go live?
We're 2:54, Craig.
2:54. 2:54, just a couple minutes. Jonathan Brown, no. Jim Farley is not a guest today, but you never know. We may run across him out in L.A.
Going live?
We are.
Bob McElroy is asking Craig, where is procedure to embed into a blog? Well, you should be able, I know Ben sends that out to our selected list of partners, but if you want to get on that list to put it somewhere else, I'm sure we could work something out. He's the technical guy, though. He knows all about that back-end stuff. So I can ask him after, or if you get in touch with us through Facebook, email, comment on one of our programs, that'd be great. We can get you that embed code, most certainly. And before, I should probably thank our sponsors one more time before we actually go live. Today's program is being brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, by Bosch, Diesel, good, clean, fun, and of course by TI Automotive, Fluid Thinking. We thank them for their support of Autoline and Autoline Live. T-minus about 2 minutes, Ben? 1.5. 1.5 minutes to go.
Are you, that's where you're still at?
So almost there for the moment you have no doubt all been waiting for. Looks like we are still at the Cadillac booth, probably waiting for Mr. Royce to come by.
We're doing well, Lori. Good to
Get a nice shot of the floor there. All the folks running around, cameras, people shooting cars. Busy. Lots of energy at these auto shows, especially the press days. People running everywhere.
That'll be 1 minute. Exactly.
Got about a minute to go here.
Craig, I'm on Craig and your video. Craig, go ahead and let's thank our media partners and our chat moderators.
Very good. Thanking our chat moderators before we get started. DC Auto Geek, great having you. Thanks so much for your efforts. We do appreciate it very much. And of course, we've got to thank the folks that are embedding our live stream today. Got to thank allpar.com, autoblog.com, DCAutogeek.com, drivenmavens.com, mpgeomatic.com, and of course our friends at wardsauto.com. And with that, we're going to throw it over to John and company out on the floor of the Los Angeles Convention Center. So I'll see you back here at the end of the live broadcast.
Autoline Live from the LA Auto Show is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014. Bosch Clean Diesel, good, clean, fun. And by TI Automotive, Fluid Thinking. And now, live from the Los Angeles Auto Show, here's John McElroy.
Welcome to the 2011 LA Auto Show and to Autoline, coming to you live from the show. We're glad that you're joining us here today. We're going to be doing a lot of things in the next hour, and we're glad that you're joining us for it. And here's what we're going to be doing. Taking you to some of the displays that are here, showing you some of the latest cars that are coming out right at this show, and talking to some of the top executives who are here. The show, as I mentioned, is going to go for about an hour. But halfway through the show, we've got to change venues because the LA Auto Show is actually in two different concourses. Right now we're in the South Concourse, and about halfway through the show, we've got to get over to the West Concourse. We're going to be playing you a couple of interviews that we pre-taped that you can listen to, but we're also going to do sort of picture-picture kind of a thing. In the lower right-hand part of your screen, you're going to be able to see us moving from this part of the concourse, South Concourse, to the West one. And something that we've never done before, so this ought to be pretty cool technology for us. But right now, why don't I take you to our first interview of the day with the guy who runs all of North America for General Motors, Mark Royce. Come on with me. We're going to go find him over by one of the cars that they've unveiled here today. Mark Royce.
John, what a pleasant and unexpected surprise here at the LA Auto Show to see you in our stand.
He's lying, people. He's totally lying. This has all been pre-planned, and
there's even a piece of paper spot where I have to stand. Great. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
And I'm glad you're taking the time. I know how busy you are.
No, it's good. Always, anytime.
Hey, GM North America, man, you guys are hauling the freight for the corporation right now. You're doing pretty well.
Not too bad. Yeah, we have a good team, and so a lot of hardworking people, and it's there's a lot more to do, but we're doing a little bit. Yeah.
And you've got a couple of important introductions at this show here. In fact, we've got the Cadillac XTS here behind us. Tell us, in your words, what this means for Cadillac to get this car.
Yeah, well, I think this is a very significant and important car for Cadillac because number one, it's a different formula of luxury in this size segment.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think you have things like the 7 Series, and I think those type of size cars, define luxury in one way. This type of car is it is the most technically sophisticated Cadillac we've ever done. And so we've got things like virtual bumpers, we've got a hyper strut front suspension that eliminates torque steer and provides tremendous ride and handling for the car. Brembo brakes is standard equipment. We've got the new Q system that is the user interface for Cadillac, which sort of emulates some of the Apple iPod proximity type touches, but adds the haptic feedback, which is the actual physical feedback of the buttons. So
which I think is a first, right?
It's a first, and I think that's really, those are the type of things that people expect when they buy a Cadillac, and I think we're delivering on that here, which is exciting.
And Cadillac, as we know, needs new product, and this is a really important one. Then next year you'll have the ATX coming for Cadillac as well.
That's right. We'll launch the XTS here first, followed very quickly by the ATS, which is, of course, off of our new Alpha platform, which, forget about the technical piece of it, but I think it's going to be a breakthrough in mass efficiency, not only for General Motors and Cadillac, but I think for the industry and the way we went about that. So it's very exciting.
It's a lightweight car?
It is. It's a very mass efficient car. Big regulatory environment we've got to launch into, we know that, but I think the structure and the strength that we get out of the efficiency that we've gotten mass-wise with it creates, a car that drives like no other.
What kind of curb weight are you talking about?
I'm not going to say quite yet. No, not yet, nor the price.
Well, I had to ask.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No, that's been, a big question for us in the media, me especially. How does General Motors take mass out of its cars?
Well,
it's a huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity, and I think that car will demonstrate, what we've been able to accomplish over a couple of years, and I think it's very exciting.
And then at the other end of the spectrum, in Chevrolet, you're debuting the Spark here. Is that right?
We are the Spark, and I think that again is a car that we've never had in North America. We've had it that size of car in different places in the world, but we're going to bring that car here, and we announced the BEV piece of it, the battery electric vehicle version of it. So I think that car and that size of car is again, a really compelling entry for people that are first into the market, first experience with Chevrolet, my first, best Chevrolet. And I think that's a huge opportunity for us. So it's a beautiful little car, great interior, fun, happy. We're looking forward to it.
And those are the two big intros.
They are, and then we had the ZL1 convertible here too. So which is good.
Can't forget that.
No, you can't forget that. So it's a fantastically fast and fun convertible. So exciting.
Going over to the Frankfurt Auto Show, I sat next to one of the development engineers.
Yeah.
We got talking, and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to the Frankfurt Auto Show." I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "Oh, I'm test engineer for the ZL1. I'm going up to the Nürburgring." And I said, "Man, let's switch jobs."
Let's switch, yeah. I did the same thing, and I was there that week, and with those guys. So we had just a wonderful time over there. Put a lot of laps on the car, timed the car for the first time along with the ATS. So we had the ZL1, the ATS there. there, full-blown development out of our garage, our new garage there.
So you got the hammer down. You're banging off laps at the Nürburgring yourself?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I got some great. Oh yeah.
Listen, I love hearing when automotive executives are true car people, and it's so great to hear that you are.
No, I for 1 week out of the year, you live in a bed and breakfast there with all the development engineers that I know and love, and have spent most of my career with, and to do that is spiritual. It really is, and it takes you to a completely different place, and you remember why you're here, right?
See, listen, people, when an executive says it's spiritual to go out and hang out with development engineers, he's got gasoline in his veins. This is excellent.
Yeah, it is. It really
jumping
is.
topics a little bit.
Yeah.
Don Johnson, your head of sales, came out yesterday saying maybe 14 million SAR for November in the U.S. market.
Yeah, it could be. You guys like to write about what we think is going to happen, but the real news is that we're able to adjust to whatever does happen. And so our break-even points are right around 10.5 to 11 million units. So, we're making money in North America, whatever it is, and we're flexible enough operationally to handle whatever it is. So, that could happen here. The thing I don't know is what's the next flood, okay? What's the next European economy that's going to, not help us? There's all that stuff happening in the world today, so it's hard. But, that could happen. There's a lot of pent-up demand.
There is. Although you just are slowing down with the cruise production right now. Did you overbuild, or are you seeing a slowdown?
No. I tell you, the Japanese competitors in that segment had a lot of incentive on leases that ran out to maintain the lease until they got inventory back. That happened in October. And so rather than incent, we're commanding about $2,000 more on an average transaction price on cruise. We want to keep it there because it's a great car. And so, we built a little bit of inventory. It's 73 days supply. I mean, that's about perfect, but I don't want to build any more. And so we took a week at Lordstown, right thing to do, align the supply and demand, move on, don't destroy any residual values or price, and that's where we're at.
Okay, back to the product. You told me earlier that the XTS is going to be your own personal car.
Yeah, it will.
Your company car.
Yeah, it is. It is like a really nicely tailored suit. And the chassis we got in here. I'm driving a Regal GS right now. Same hyper strut front suspension on this. I'm telling you, it is remarkable how I can carve turns with that car, how it's balanced and how it soaks up bumps with the right amount of damping without being harsh, but still a very, very tailored and taut ride. And so, the car's got Brembo brakes on it. It's a very capable car. So we're going to have some really fun with this. And, I got 3 kids. So I want to carry 3 kids and be able to do this as well, and this is going to be a great car for me.
It's the right size for it.
Yeah.
Mark, I know that you're real busy, and we've got to go on doing other interviews here, but thanks a million for taking the time.
Thanks, John.
Really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure and great seeing you here.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Yeah,
You bet.
see ya.
Okay, folks, now we're headed off to Hyundai, where we're going to be talking with John Krafchick. They've got a new car that debuted here as well, and come on with me. Let's go see what we find on the way to Hyundai. That one? Yeah. The first one, we have to shove Clay Dean out of the way as we come through with our camera. He's the guy who did the CL, and everybody knows him from being on After Hours. But Clay, great seeing you again.
Good seeing you.
Yeah. So far, this is a pretty good show. Not as big as the Frankfurt show, probably not even as big as the Detroit show, but a good turnout of people here. The press conferences, they've done not quite half of them that they're going to do for today, but a lot more unveils coming here. And we do have a number of world debuts to talk about. And of course, in the media business, that's what you want to talk about, is world debuts, not just what's the first North American debut of a vehicle. And I see Krafchick right now is talking to somebody, but I think we can shove our way in. Hey, here's Jim Trainer, people.
How you doing?
This is Jim with Hyundai, and
hello everybody.
Yeah,
Glad you're here, John. Thank you.
We're real glad to be here. So excuse us, Jim.
Please.
And we all.
We're live, so we need to
Yeah.
do this like right now.
And this is the best part I like. We got to interrupt an interview to do an interview. That's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What we should point out is this is the Hyundai Azera, which is debuting at this show. This is the largest car that's under the Genesis level of sedan. So it's really sort of between the Sonata and the Genesis. So you'll see that fluidic styling that they've got in all the Hyundais also coming into the Azera right now. And here he is.
Hey,
out of one
John.
interview right into the next one. You never get a break at all, do you?
Break? What is it? Where's Chris Hoffman?
Yeah.
Where is that guy? How
So
are you?
doing really well.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Azera. This is an important car for you at this show.
Can I show you guys this car?
Come on.
Because we're really
Let's-
proud of
let's
this.
do it, yeah.
So it's our, I don't know, 6th or 7th fluidic sculpture design, which started with Tucson. We're rolling this design language throughout the lineup, and you know, it's hard to say which one of your kids you love the best. You know how hard that is, but I tell you, fluidic sculpture really seems to work on this car, which is a pretty big car, E-segment car, right?
Right.
Large
bigger cars, it's easier to get those lines and get the proportions that you want, isn't it?
It is indeed, and we're especially proud of this front end view, which has a very, very strong taut appearance, and that wonderful character line off the rear door that wraps around the deck lid is, I think,
let's talk about that. Part of the DLO.
Yeah, well, the DLO is terrific, and the low roofline and nearly fastback roofline, I think, gives it a very, very sleek appearance. But I'm talking about this character line right here, which tucks around and follows nicely across the deck lid. I mean, it's terrific, John. And, you know, large car segment, honestly, this may surprise you. Do you know this? 50% of large car sales are fleet sales. It's
I did not
it's a
know that.
600,000 unit segment. 300,000 of those go to fleet. The vast majority of those are in rental fleets. I mean, that's the definition of sleepy, snoozy, boring, right? and we didn't want to make a car that would be successful with rental car companies. We wanted to make a car that had appeal to paying customers in dealerships, and that's really been the focus with Azera, and we think we've done it. The other nice thing is, if you look at our lineup, we've got Sonata, all 4-cylinder, right?
Yeah.
And many people ask, well, where's the V6? This is where the
Here's
V6
the
is.
V6.
This is the V6, and you could think of this car. I'm not a big fan of segmentation. I think we in the industry worry too much. Oh, is this a mid-sized car? Is it a large car? This is really something in between. It's actually shorter than a Honda Accord. Right?
Doesn't look it.
It doesn't look it, but it's got an interior volume bigger than a Toyota Avalon, which is a really, really huge interior in that car. So it's something that we really focus on Hyundai, is getting great interior volume inside a trim and tidy exterior package in a car that's still sexy and looks good that you want to put in your driveway.
What my question was is, could this be one model too far? I mean, you've got Sonata, Azera, then into the Genesis. Unless, of course, Genesis gets broken off as its own brand. Then this makes all the sense in the
You
world
are a
today.
crafty man, John. You are a crafty man, and I will not fall for your trap. But I can tell you that, you know, if you look at our lineup right now, Sonata's an all 4-cylinder midsize. And then we've got the rear-wheel drive Genesis, which is about a 50-50 split, V6 and V8. This is a perfect fit in between. It really is. It's front-wheel drive. It's got a great package. It's got that 3.3-liter gasoline direct-injected V6, 21 city, 29 highway, unsurpassed fuel economy in the segment, 293 horsepower. It's a great, great combination. We think we'll find plenty of buyers for this. I really don't see it impacting Genesis or Sonata.
Oh, interesting. And price on this will be?
Price on this will be announced soon.
Okay.
And here's the thing with this car. We love to keep things simple at Hyundai. There are only 2 ways to build an Azera. This base car has leather seats, navigation, heated front and rear seats, BlueLink telematics, extraordinary amount of standard equipment. And then we've got an ultimate package which adds things like the panoramic sunroof and a few other really terrific features. So only 2 ways to spec it. The base spec is something we might have called a limited, right? In which maybe some of our competitors would have had as their highest end spec with just one option package on top. So that's a long and convoluted way of saying this is going to cost more than the last Azera, but it's got so much more content.
So value-wise, it's probably better, even though the price may be higher, you get more for that price.
Yeah, there's no question. And one of the things we're seeing with the recent sales success we've had at Hyundai is consumers really put a high price premium on design. And the fluidic sculpture design language we've adopted, from a pure pricing standpoint, could be worth a couple of $1,000s. I mean, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
What good design can do.
Right.
We have looked at where our sales gains have come from the last couple of years and kind of parceled out, is it the design, is it the fuel efficiency improvements, what is it? About 50% of the retail share gain we can ascribe directly to design.
Wow, that's a
so you
stunning
designers
statement.
doing great work out there, understand you guys are the most important folks in the industry. And we really get that at Hyundai, and that's why you're seeing designs like this one going across our lineup.
Okay, can you get enough of them? That's one of your big problems right now, is you could sell more cars if you could get more cars.
The great news about Azera is it's going to be largely incremental production. It allows us to access production that we hadn't accessed before. So
the three of us learned how to crochet in high school
as a way to make some extra cash. But after taking a trip to war-torn Uganda, we decided crocheting was a skill we could teach the women there. We started Crochet Kids International, a non-profit that's now helping hundreds of families break the cycle of poverty. Every hat is hand-signed by the woman who made it. It's allowing customers to make a decision to take part in changing lives.
Billion SAR for November. You guys got to be contributing to that.
We're having a really good November, and I think the industry does look pretty strong. I don't know if it's 14 million strong, but probably in the 13s. And yeah, that feels good for all of us, I think. You bet.
Well, good. Well, John Krafchick, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us.
It's always great to talk to you, John.
You bet.
Take care.
Okay, we got to run, and I know you're busy too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now we're off to Mazda. We're going to be talking with Jim Sullivan. In fact, the chairman and CEO of Mazda was here this morning, Yamanuchi, talking all about what they're doing with their SkyActiv technology and a number of things. So come on with us. Let's go over to Mazda right now, and who knows who we might bump into on the way. You can see Audi right now. We're going to be coming back to them later because we've got to talk about their A6 and 7 as well as the S6 and 7. And as you all know, Audi's got a lot riding on those cars, but like Hyundai, they're red hot right now, but at the other end of the market. So one of the cars that Mazda's debuting at this show is the CX-5. Norm, give a shot of this white one because we'll get into more detail on it. But now we got to go find Jim O'Sullivan, and I know he'll want to talk about that vehicle, but it'll give you a feel of what it's all about. And as we wander around the Mazda display, looking for Jim O'Sullivan, who is, and here he is, right now.
John,
Jim,
great to see you.
Oh.
John, fantastic. Welcome to the Mazda stand.
We're glad to be here. So the CX-5 is the big news here today.
Big news. North American reveal for us. First press conference this morning. It's fantastic. So our suite of all the SkyActiv technologies is incorporated in this product, and we're really excited.
Just in case nobody knows what SkyActiv is, give us the thumbnail on that.
Well, let me get a thumbnail. It's very easy. All new engines, gasoline, diesel, all new automatic, all new manuals, all new architecture, all new design. Ground up, all brand new vehicle, incorporating everything. Three things benefits to the customer: great fuel economy, great environmental, but still does not compromise Mazda drive dynamics and zoom zoom.
Which is critical. I mean, you guys cannot afford to lose that.
Well, no, we can't, and it's very important for us too. And the other thing on CX-5, why it's important, is if you take a look at outflow of C-car customers, whether it's Corolla, whether it's Civic, or even Mazda 3, when they leave that C-car segment, this is the segment that they get into. So for us, this is very important for us, capturing the Mazda 3 customers, keeping them within the brand, but at the same time period, bringing new customers to Mazda.
Back to SkyActiv for a minute. You know, I know I'm jumping all around here, but Mr. Yamanuchi, your CEO, was here today talking about how you're going to be able to deliver in a Mazda 2 40 mile per gallon highway, essentially hybrid kind of fuel economy in a gasoline engine car.
Well, we have on the stand right here this Mazda 3 with SkyActiv technology. Remember, the Mazda 3 that's SkyActiv, gasoline and automatic transmission, that's all it is. It's not the full suite of technology. 40 mpg on the highway, without compromising great driving dynamics on a C-car. We haven't released the EPA labels yet on CX-5, but it's going to be class-leading and best in class. But John, you know, more importantly, it doesn't sacrifice what Zoom is all about for us, and that's very important.
No, and that's why I said earlier that's so critical, because you've got so many other competitors out there doing fuel efficiency and value and blah, 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 but you're the only ones really talking about a driver's car with these kinds of vehicles.
Well, and that's why the SkyActiv technology, the benefit that it pervades is the fact of best-in-class fuel economy, great emissions, great for the environment, but still we have to be true to who we are, and that's delivering Zoom. The other benefit of SkyActiv technology, we did a little bit of it on Mazda 3. This is the full suite of it. As our product cadence goes out, everything's going to incorporate SkyActiv. So you got manufacturers that are doing EV and hybrid, but that's one vehicle. We want the customer that's going anywhere from a Mazda 2 all the way to a CX-9 get the SkyActiv technology suite that will deliver everything they're looking for. Fuel economy, environmental, and great drive dynamics.
One of the points Mr. Yamanuchi made this morning was that the basic architecture of your gasoline and diesel engines are the same, to the point, I mean, they're not the same engines clearly, but so that they can build one right after the other on the same engine line.
Well, that's the great thing for us. As you know, first and foremost, manufacturing efficiencies are very important. We're also the only Asian brand, the only one so far, that's talked about bringing diesels to North America.
Well, that's what I was leading up to.
So as a fact of the matter is, it provides us, in terms of efficiency, to produce the gasoline and diesel engine on that same assembly line without doing a dedicated line just for diesel. Keeps your costs low, but more importantly, keeps your manufacturing very flexible.
Oh, so you might have a price advantage over other diesel offerers.
Well, as you all know, I mean, manufacturing efficiency does roll back into one of our traits, which is value. So the one thing that comes back down in terms of what's core for us is value for the customer. So if we're able to keep costs on alternative powertrains relatively low, cost of entry for the customer is there, residual values are strong, which, as you know, as a brand, we're very high.
Right.
And it's going to benefit us in the marketplace.
So what's your outlook for diesels? Because, if I talk to the Germans, they're all gung-ho on it. Others seem to be shy about it. But although Chevrolet's getting into it with the diesel Cruze.
Well, I would say that we're going to be into it with both feet. We've already announced that we're bringing the diesels to North America in 2013. Whether we bring it in this crossover or something else still has not been decided. But we have package protected this for diesel, and we'll be launching CX-5 in Europe with Sky Diesel technology. So we do have it, and we've got a transmission that takes care of it. Plus the fact our diesel after treatment, you don't need it like in some of the conventional diesels today. So the cost of ownership for consumers is going to be even better. So we're bullish on it. We think it's a huge opportunity for us as an alternative to gasoline, and a great alternative for someone looking for very good fuel economy, but maybe doesn't want to go all the way up to hybrid.
And explain that term that you just used, package protected.
Yes.
What's that mean?
Well, what I mean is that when you're doing a chassis or an architecture, even though you might be, launching a particular product or a particular powertrain right away, the engineering, pre-engineering is already done. So when the marketplace is ready for it, you don't have to tear up all that architecture to make something fit. You package protect it, so later on down the road, if you need to add to it, you can do that. And since diesel's going to Europe, it makes it easy for us to package protect in the event it would have to come to the North American market at some particular point.
So you're ready?
Well, depending upon how the market goes, and but we're very excited about CX-5, and we've got some people in there driving it right now. We get some good impressions this week. So.
That's terrific. Jim, I'm glad that we could show everybody live you explaining what the CX-5 and SkyActiv and what Mazda's philosophy is all about.
Well, it's always great to see you, John, and also very, very much. And welcome to the LA show. Isn't the energy here great, though?
It is. It is.
I mean, you could tell from 2008 to 2009, even to 2010 to now. I mean, this is really great leading into the Detroit show in January, which is one of my favorite shows. So.
Yeah. Well, the market's coming up, sales are going better, so yeah, I think the energy reflects that.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So we just got to keep it going. So
yes, we do. Okay,
great.
Thanks
again,
for
coming
Jim.
by today, and got to get you into a Mazda CX-5 to drive.
Yes,
so
you do.
Enjoy. Thanks very much.
I got to do that. Okay.
Take care. Thanks.
See ya. Okay, and now we've got to go over to Infiniti. We're going to be talking with Ben Poole, who I think is the head of sales for them. Come on, people. Let's see what we find on the way. In fact, I even got to find out where the heck is the Infiniti display. Oh, I see it. Way down there away. Dean, how you doing?
Real good.
Hey, we're live here on the internet right now, but you do all the motorsport stuff for Mazda. How's things going there?
Oh, we've had a great season. We won the Manufacturers Championship for ALMS, LMP1, and we won the championship for Continental Tire Street Tuner. So with the Mazda Speed 3s and the MX-5s, we've had a fantastic year. Plus all of our Mazda ladder drivers in Star Mazda, USF 2000, Skip Barber, Playboy MX-5 Cup. Busy year.
That's good. Thanks for the update.
Oh,
we got
thanks.
to run. But
Okay.
good seeing you, Dean. Yeah, Dean's an interesting guy. Been in the business for a long time. Really knows a lot about this business and a lot about cars. But he's into the motorsport end of it, which of course is a real soft spot in my heart. So come on, we'll cut through Chevrolet here, walking between the Volts that they've got on display. And, oh, Norm, while we're at it here, on the turntable there, let's walk by that way on the way to Infiniti. Here, folks, is the ZL1 convertible. This is the debut of the convertible at this show. And I can't wait to get in this car and drive it, because this is just a monster of a car. And that's what we were talking with Mark Royce about earlier. Hey, how you doing? Come here. We're live here right now.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So here we go, folks. Look, we got to show you. It's Rebecca Lindemood from
Linland.
Or Linland, excuse me.
That's okay.
From IHS Automotive. What do you see going on in the market? I saw yesterday that General Motors is talking about a 14 million SAR for November. Do you believe that number? What do you think?
That's really impressive, and it would be fantastic if that was the case. I hope it is, because we want to see recovery. What we're really seeing is replacement demand. People replacing those cars they bought in 2000, 2001 that are 10, 11 years old.
But they got the money to buy new cars. That's the point I keep making.
Well, that's the positive, certainly. And the financing is there. I mean, they're going in and they're saying, I can improve my fuel economy, sometimes double it with a very similar type of vehicle if they move from a truck-based SUV to a crossover. How great is that? And I'm getting a good deal, good financing rates. So there's a lot of good positives going on.
Next year, what do you think?
Next year, we are definitely more conservative. We're only in the 13 million unit range, which I'd love to be in the 14s.
Right.
But we do
Fears
have to.
of Europe. What is it?
It's just a general unease in the economy. We have the uncertainty of the election. We've just got all these kinds of things going on where we can't get that consumer really comfortable, because they're saying, well, if I don't have to buy the car. Well, but again, we've got all that replacement sitting out there.
Well, maybe next year will be different, but it's been my observation that things tend to go better in election years.
Well, yes,
somehow they manage to make that happen.
I like a little citizen in you.
Hey, we got to run, but I'm glad we ran into you.
Likewise.
Okay, take care, Rebecca.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I said hi and then I left.
We'll show you more of what General Motors has got here. GMC and Buick is what you're looking at right now. And we're getting ever closer to the Infiniti display. So bear with us just for a moment here, folks. So one thing I noticed compared to last year is the quality of the displays seems to be better. I mean, the displays look bigger. It looks like they've spent more money on them. A little bit more extravagant. This is a good sign. You can judge what's going on. Hey, Larry.
Hey, John. How are you?
We're live here on the internet right now. So, folks, this is Larry Dominique. Used to be head of product planning at Nissan.
Yes, sir.
Now you're at TrueCar. But somebody told me you're running Automotive Lease Guide. Is that right?
Yeah. TrueCar acquired Automotive Lease Guide a couple months ago, and as part of this acquisition, they brought me on as Executive Vice President of Data Solutions, of which ALG is part of. It's really exciting.
So you set all the prices of what residuals are going to be some years down the road. Is that right?
That's what ALG does, but basically we let the data determine what the residuals will be. So that's the important part, John.
So who's doing real well right now? Who's got some of the best residuals out there?
As a matter of fact, we're here today with the team, doing the Residual Value Awards, and Subaru won overall mainstream brand.
Oh, interesting.
So they actually won 3 awards this year.
Wow.
And it actually is scattered around. Nissan won an award, VW, GMC with Acadia. So it's really spread around. It varies by category.
What really drives the residual values in a car? I mean, in a nutshell, I know there's a zillion things, but what do you think is the key thing?
Well, there's several key things actually. I mean, a lot of it's OEM behavior. It's how we're incentivizing. Don't overprice, don't overbuild, manage the car flow the right way, and also a growing importance is the brand itself. You know, and that's a key part is going forward as well.
So you must love the fact that you're back in California too, right?
Yeah, it's nice to be back in California. I lived about 80% of my time, as you know, in an airplane.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice to be in the same time zone with your family for more than 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Really exciting.
Well, good for you. I'm so glad that we ran into you here on the floor, Larry.
My pleasure, John.
Best
Nice to
of
see
luck
you.
to you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
take care. Come on, folks. We're at Infiniti. Oh, let's show right now. You know, this is kind of interesting. Infiniti is a sponsor of the Red Bull Formula One team. So even though they're running Renault engines, it also says Infiniti on the side of the car. And lo and behold, here they've got one of the cars on display at the LA Auto Show. In fact, it says Sebastian Vettel on the side. I don't know if this is the car that he ran with. It's probably last year's car or something like that. They typically don't bring out the latest ones for the auto shows. But anyway, come on. And here we go.
How you doing?
We're really good.
Nice
really
to
good.
see you.
Oh,
Great to
cool,
see you.
Right? And you're in charge of sales at Infiniti, and we're live here on the internet.
Great.
We're so glad that you took the time to talk with us.
I'm thrilled to be here with you guys.
So tell us, what are you showing here at the LA show?
Well, this is the all-new Infiniti JX. We just revealed it, worldwide debut. This is our new luxury entrant in the three-row crossover market. And you know, in luxury, that three-row crossover, one of the fastest growing, biggest one out there in America.
So this is really important for you guys to get into that segment.
It's about as important a launch as we've had in recent history, no doubt.
Wow.
We have crossovers that are in the mail market, but ours are more performance-oriented. The FX is more a Porsche Cayenne fighter. This is a heart of the market, MDX, RX, that kind of fighter. So.
Well, Norm's got a camera on the car. Tell the audience a little bit of what they're looking at.
Yeah, so what you're seeing is the three-row luxury JX crossover. You can see the beautiful lines in the exterior. We really want to shake up the segment with the design. It takes the lines from the Essence, from the grille. You've seen our Essence concept to the crescent cut in the rear of the vehicle.
Right.
Much higher touch point craftsmanship on the interior vehicle than what you can find out there today in the marketplace.
Really? Because Infiniti's always been pretty good at that.
Well, but that's why we're going to shake up this segment a bit. You know, we haven't participated here, so we want to provide that level in this segment that's not there today.
Give us some details, some examples of what you're talking about, of how you're kicking it up another level.
Well, here's you know, if you think about this segment, first of all, people buy for space, interior. So we've got a very unique folding seat in the second row. Now you can leave a child seat actually in that second row, slide it forward, and access the third row. Normally today you're playing the shuffle over the seat kind of thing. You don't have to take it out. That second row actually slides back and forth about 5.5 inches. Now I'm a small guy, so I fit in the third row, but a lot of adults don't. But with that sliding seat, you're going to get adult-sized space back there. So really ingenious kind of folding or technology on getting in. It'll have all kinds of class-leading room in there. I could go over everyone, but it's got a lot of space. The other one that's really interesting to me that's going to shake it up is the backup collision intervention system. Now, another reason that people buy luxury crossovers is safety.
Right.
And with the backup collision intervention system, what happens is if you're in reverse and a car is coming in the path, or heaven forbid there's a child or an object in the rear and you don't see it, if you don't stop, the JX will stop for you. I mean, it's an amazing kind of technology that's going to take it. There's nothing else like that available. The other final thing I'd point out is that these are people who live hectic lives. You know, moms, dads, they've got a million things going on. So with the JX, you get a free, complimentary live personal assistant. We call it the Infiniti Personal Assistant, and that's great. That's more like what you would get with an American Express Black Card, for example. But what this does now is connects in with the Infiniti Connection telematics so that you can talk to your personal assistant. Say you want to find a restaurant recommendations, or I want to go roller skating, whatever. The personal assistant then can beam the directions right to your Infiniti navigation system, and you're on your way.
So the idea is you're just telling them what you want, and they do all the work, so you're not as distracted?
Correct. So the personal assistant can do the work with you, make recommendations. You know, we've lost a little of that human touch in luxury, right? There's all kinds of gadgets. I get it. But we want to find a way that those gadgets work together with the human touch of the personal assistant, and that's what this does. Another thing you can do is, again, on schedule, we actually have a system where it'll link with your Google Calendar. So you can take your Outlook. I could take
your smartphone,
this thing, connect it up with the Google Calendar on my Outlook, and then I can have my entire schedule beamed to my car, including directions where I got to go in terms of addresses. So the idea is shake the segment up. Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah.
Pricing. So we announced.
You announced it. Good.
We announced it 6 months before we're going to go on sale. With the starting price is $40,450. You'd be very well equipped in the mid 45s, mid 46s. Lease price point of about $549, and we want to get out immediately that this is a car that not only provides luxury but is also a tremendous luxury value as well.
That's interesting because most automakers keep pricing until the very last second, so the competition doesn't know what they're up to. Why did you go early with that?
Well, we don't compete in this segment today, so we have nothing else to compete against ourselves. And a lot of people hold pricing because they're trying to not have impact their old vehicle. That's not the case for us. And because we're new to it, we want to give people a reason to come see us. So we've actually got a reservation site up today for customers who do pre-reserve with us and then purchase with us. We have a wonderful Bose complimentary gift that we'll provide them, either 2 sets of the quiet headphones or what's called a SoundWave personal speaker that hooks up with your Bluetooth on your Android or your Apple iPhone. We really want to make this an invitation to say, come check us out, because we're nowhere new to it.
Really interesting. Who will you be competing against? What other vehicles with this one?
The absolute ruler of this segment today is the Acura MDX. They've been in the market for ages. They have about 40% of the segment. So our pricing is, well, it's actually better than the MDX. And we know that. We need to be there. The other one that's cross-shopped all the time is the Lexus RX. I mean, these are the two family go-to luxury vehicles. They are what they are in their own rights, but there is room here now for something to challenge what is the status quo out there. Those are the two principal competitors.
And you said the JX will go on sale in 6 months?
In spring of 2012, so we're about 6 months away. Built here in the United States, so we're very proud of that as well.
Very interesting. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that either.
Yeah, correct.
Real good. Well, Ben, I got to say thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. We got to run to our next interview here, but very interesting, and I'm glad that we could show all this live to our audience. Thanks for your time.
It's great, John. Thank you. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Okay,
bye.
See you, Ben.
Okay, bye.
Okay, and now, as I talked about before, we're going to go to Audi. That's all we have. So that's interesting to me, the JX being built in the U.S. and, clearly all the Japanese automakers are thinking about how they've got to move production out of Japan because of the strength of the yen. However, I thought that was all going to come with low-price cars and that the more expensive kind of vehicle would still be built in Japan. Obviously, that's not the case with the JX. At a $40,000 vehicle, you would have thought that maybe they could make that in Japan. But just interesting to see how the business is changing, not just from technology or market demand, but of course it's all being dictated by exchange rates as well. Okay, BMW is not going to like the fact that we're cutting through their display to get to Audi, but this is the shortcut way of getting there. And in fact, not only are we cutting through BMW, now we're going to cut through Lexus. And they got a pretty busy display right here, or at least busy because they've got some big shoot going on with more camera equipment and booms and lights and anything that I've seen anybody use here yet today.
A little point to shoot.
This way, Norm. And finally, here we are at Audi. Now we just have to find our interview. And where may he be? There we are.
So, yeah, there you go. I'm glad we had the time and chance to meet.
Shoot the S7.
We're about to do an interview.
So are we.
And ours is live.
Quickly, please.
So this is the fun part. We're coming in to shoot an interview where somebody else is getting ready to shoot an interview. Part of what we've got to go around with here. We're waiting. And yeah, we're waiting for the guy that we've got to interview. And
there's Sarah.
And his name? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
How much is it for?
I don't know. We've got like kind of package deal with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony Falk.
Yeah. Yeah, our interview subject is currently getting wired up for another interview that he's got to do, so I think we're going to get him now.
Hey.
Anthony, right?
Yes,
Anthony Falk, right. Yes.
We met at the A6 launch. So.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
But we've got to tell the audience who we're talking to here.
Anthony Falk, product manager for A6, A7, and Q7 now. So.
And Q7 as well,
yes.
and the S models.
And definitely the S models,
the S
absolutely.
So the A7 is getting all kinds of rave reviews. You've got to be thrilled by the way it's been received by the media.
The A7 and A6 also has been really got a tremendous response.
I agree. And my own personal favorite between the two is actually the A6, but the A7 is what everyone's talking about.
Yeah, because it definitely has this emotional appeal to it with the design of the car. It's this beautiful new concept, 4-seat, 5-door luxury car, and it's great to look at, great to drive, and really a beautiful car.
In fact, Norm is looking at the S7 model right now.
Yeah, so
the S7 that kicks it up another notch.
Yeah, so the S models, we have today is the U.S. debut of the S6, the S7, and the S8, which are the high performance versions of the A cars. They uniquely combine high performance with luxury, craftsmanship, efficiency, and all the safety you'd expect out of an Audi.
And when do they go on sale in the U.S. market?
They are going to come to the U.S. next summer. So this is the U.S. debut, first time consumers have seen them, and they'll be in dealers next summer.
But the A6 and A7 you can get right now.
Absolutely. You can get a 3-liter V6, 300 horsepower performance car now, but the S model will be here next year.
Audi's been so red hot. I mean, this is only going to add to the momentum.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all part of the plan. We've been pushing for the past 2 years, specifically on what we call the C and D segments of the market, with the all-new A8 last year that came, and then we introduced the A7 this past spring, and then the A6 in the summer. And the whole idea here is to bring completely new generations, and in the case of the A7, completely new model to the high end of the luxury market, to really give consumers a great product to drive and a lot of attention to the Audi brand overall.
Marketing-wise, are you going to do anything different with these cars than what you have been doing?
Well, we're definitely evolving as a brand, of course. So with the A8, we definitely went out and started talking about how luxury has progressed, how this is the new type of luxury with the A8. It's a lightweight car. It's lighter than its predecessor. It has all the driver assistance systems that you would want for more comfort as well as safety. The aluminum frame, the lightweight construction, it has full LED headlights. They're not just decoration with the daytime running lights. It's full LED headlights also, starting with the A8 and then the A6 and the A7. So when it comes to marketing, we definitely have talked about the product substance the most with the A8 and then also with the A6. There's really, those consumers tend to be a little more rational in their purchase reasons, and we really want to explain to them so that they really know how great of a product this is and talk about the rational product features. The A7, of course, it has all the same product benefits as the other cars, but it really is an emotional car to look at and to drive and to experience. Yeah, sure. So the marketing, of course, is a little bit different on the A7, but the A6 gets a little bit of a halo effect from the A7 and vice versa, because they're positioned a little bit differently, but they both have the same strengths.
Let's go back to the LED headlamps for a minute, because I don't think people may not appreciate just how much technology is in those lamps. I mean, if you look at an exploded engineering view of those lamps, they're amazingly complex.
They're very complex actually, and there's a lot of stories behind how the engineers had to develop these lights because the designers wanted a certain look in the front of the car, yet the lights.
I found your fossils. I revived you and gave you power. So fight until you can't fight anymore, or until dinner is ready. Whatever comes first. Dinosaurs, attack!
Excavate, revive, and command your team of Vivisaurs into battle. Only on Nintendo DS. New Fossil Fighters Champions. Rated E for everyone.
Which is a light temperature similar to sunlight or to daylight, so they're easier on your eyes at night, and they're also more fuel efficient because they use half the energy of a xenon. So we save fuel efficiency, we can make a great design statement, and they're more durable than the life of the car, basically, overall.
And what's impressed me is Audi was the one who really, put the flag on the top of the mountain and said, we're going to make LED headlamps work, and now you've got the rest of the industry chasing after you.
Yeah, and these are, they're full LED headlights. It's not just the daytime running lights that you see on a lot of cars these days. We started with that, but now our lighting engineers really are fanatics about leading in lighting, and they've got some great new features coming in the future with these, because you don't need to have one big bulb in LED lights. You can have as many LEDs as you want, arrange them however you want, and you can turn them on and off as you want. So you can make them adaptive. You can make them comfortable to cars coming the other direction. You can make them as bright as you need them to be. So there's a lot of advancement, and our engineers are determined to stay out front in LED lighting technology.
And you said something also that I think really speaks a lot about Audi, is you said the designers wanted a certain look, and that made the engineers figure out how to go do it. And we don't see that at a lot of car companies these days. Usually it's like the designers say, this is what we want, and the engineers say, tough. Here's what you can use.
Yeah, when you talk to these guys, especially on the A8 was the first one to have really the full kit of LED, and you talk to these guys and there were a lot of back and forth, and they need to be able to move the heat away from the lights, because of course they create a lot of heat being a lighting source, but then they need enough heat to stay there to melt snow on the front. So it's an engineering feat, first of all, to do this. But the bottom line is they really want to be as innovative as possible and bring really an Audi signature technology out in the market. And I'll tell you, talk to the designers of the A6, the A7, and the A8, it's 3 different guys, and they each had their own look for the way they wanted the LEDs to look on their car, because the A7 have a very different look than the other 2 cars, absolutely, and it's very interesting to talk to these guys about it.
I know when we had Walter De Silva on the TV show, he was talking all about that. That's one of the keys at Audi, is how the designers and the technical people work together to make things happen.
Yeah, sure, and that starts from the very beginning, of course, that you have to, a designer can't create something that an engineer can't do, but they like to push each other a bit, especially, say on an A8 that's a completely aluminum car. There were some places where the manufacturing guys told the designers what they wanted, where they would want 4 body panels to come together in the back of the car, and that means you have to have 4 aluminum body panels fit perfectly. All the gaps have to fit. If you walk around the auto show here today, you won't find any other car that has 4 aluminum body panels coming together, and that's what the manufacturing guys wanted to prove. So each of the different departments in Ingolstadt really have their expertise that they really want to be able to show on the street in the consumers' cars.
Real good. Well, thanks for talking all about that. We love being able to bring that live to our audience, but we got to run to the next one.
Great.
So thanks again.
Great talking with you.
Really
Thank you.
Okay. And, as we talked about, we're doing the first half of the show in the South Concourse, and now we got to move to the next concourse. We're going to run a couple of pre-taped interviews that we have from our sponsors for this show. We're going to have our picture-picture kind of a thing where you'll be able to follow us as we go to the other concourse in the bottom right-hand part of your screen. So check out these interviews, and we'll be back with all you folks live in about 10 minutes' time. I'm talking right now with Lars Ulrich, the head of marketing for diesels for the Robert Bosch Company in North America. Great to be talking with you.
John, thanks for having us here.
As you know, diesels are a great engine. I don't have to talk to you about that. We both know it. But what about the public's perception? Is it starting to change in the United States? Are people more accepting of diesel engines?
And John, that's a great question. Diesel perception has changed significantly. Since the introduction in 2009, what we have seen is that consumers are really interested in. There's a couple of studies out there, one by C&W conducted. And what we have seen is that from 2006 to 2011, we have seen that the consideration index for consumers going from 10% to 30%. So that means today, every third consumer, if asked the question, would you consider a clean diesel, actually says, yes, I would consider a clean diesel.
What's been changing that? Has it been advertising from the car companies that are selling diesels, or what is it?
Well, certainly it's first that diesels are now in the market. So consumers can actually experience the benefits of clean diesel. So they can experience firsthand the 30% better fuel economy. They can experience how clean these vehicles are. And most important, they also experience the functionality of the vehicle. And that boils down into, like, for example, very simple things like the total cost of ownership. So over a 3-year period, $3,600 can be saved with a clean diesel vehicle, just for an example.
And that will easily pay for the upfront cost of buying the diesel.
Exactly, and that's actually what is the interesting part for the consumer itself, and that's what we see in the take rates of the consumer. So if the consumer today has the choice between a clean diesel vehicle and a gasoline vehicle, actually over 35% in average across all diesel models currently available chooses a clean diesel. So that is very close aligned to the actual consumer study, which we have out there with 30%.
Yeah, elaborate a little bit more on that, because I think that's important. It drives home the point. Not only are people saying they're interested in diesel, you're saying where they're offered, where diesel engines are offered, a lot of people are buying them.
Exactly, and that's what we have seen just within this 2-year time frame since 2009, since the clean diesel were brought into the market. We have seen this take rate increasing from 13% up to 35% in average. I mean, some of the models, they even top out at over 80%. And that shows you that consumers really pay attention to the benefits. Fuel consumption reduction, as well as the total cost of ownership. And that payback period, which you have mentioned earlier, is in most cases less than 18 months. So in less than 18 months, you basically have the initial upfront investment amortized based on your driving the diesel vehicle.
And that's a key statistic, because that compares very favorably to hybrids, which can take a lot longer for a payback. And electrics, you know, you have to have the electric religion if you really want to go justify buying an EV.
And that is exactly this functionality. So diesel is a very well-proven technology. We know what we get for, and consumers understand what they get for as well. And that's why, like, this functionality is something which is essential for the market, because consumers don't have to change their lifestyle.
Lars, you're with Bosch, and you have to be involved, or Bosch certainly has to be involved with car companies years before anything shows up to be able to get it ready for production. As you look out for the rest of this decade, where do you see diesel sales going in the American market?
Well, what we clearly see until 2015 is a market penetration of roughly 10% in the North American market. And this is strongly supported right now just by the launches which we see coming to the market. Currently, we have a little bit over 15 vehicles in the market, and that number will double by the year 2013. We have seen the Chevrolet Cruze announcement for the 2013 timeframe. We have seen the Grand Cherokee Chrysler announcement for the year 2013. And what we will see is we'll see many more clean diesel vehicles coming to the market in 13 and 14, which will basically drive home the point and which will be very well accepted by the consumers.
10% is a lot. That's 5 times what the hybrids are selling right now.
And that's actually what we see also from a take rate. If you look at the take rate perspective, so where you have the option between a gasoline and a hybrid vehicle, the take rate is roughly at 4% for a hybrid vehicle. If you compare that to the clean diesel, which in a 2-year time frame has achieved 30%, and look at that from a hybrid perspective in what they have achieved in a 10-year perspective, it brings down the point of the functionality. At the end, we need all technologies in the market in order to basically address the fuel economy targets until 2025 of 54.5 miles per gallon.
Well, it's pretty exciting, and it's impressive to see the role that diesels are going to play in achieving that CAFE figure. But Lars Ulrich, thanks so much for coming in and talking about diesels with us today.
John, thanks again for having us here.
Fix it or find a new job, all right?
I got it. I'm sorry.
These people, huh?
You know, I've found that anger is the enemy of instruction.
You don't know the egos that I have to deal with.
You're probably right.
Thank you. Whoever you are.
I'm pretty sure that was still Jackson. It's quite famous. Million championships, triangle offense innovator.
The Audi A8, named Best Large Luxury Sedan.
Nice wheels, Zen Master.
Thank you, Todd.
I'm talking right now with Bill Kazura, the chairman and CEO of TI Automotive. First off, thanks for taking the time to speak with me right now, Bill.
You're welcome, John.
We've got all kinds of car companies and people involved in the industry interested in all the new product at the LA Auto Show. But TI Automotive makes an interesting technology, plastic gas tanks. Why do you do that? Why is the industry interested in this?
Yeah, well, plastic gas tanks actually have been around for some time. They started in the mid-'80s to replace steel gas tanks, and today we actually make what we call partial zero-emission or near-zero-emission plastic fuel tanks, which are 6-layer co-extruded plastic blow-molded tanks that have the capability of actually minimizing the permeation of hydrocarbons into the atmosphere. And so pretty much the whole North American industry will go to these zero-emission fuel tanks over the next few years. And of course, plastic is lighter weight and, quite frankly, lower cost than steel.
6 layers, so you've got 6 different layers of plastic, and that's all designed to prevent any hydrocarbons from evaporating from the tank?
Yeah, the 6 layers is a combination of high-density polyethylene that gives the tank its strength with what we call a EVOH barrier, which is the actual barrier that stops the hydrocarbons from permeating through the plastic. So you would have a combination of these layers to help not only provide the structure to the tank, but also to give you that barrier to keep the atmosphere clean.
I'm sure a whole lot of people who are not involved in emissions are not aware that the gas tank is actually a critical part of meeting the emission standards in cars these days.
Yeah, fuel tanks and fuel systems are really highly engineered parts of the cars. You know, most of us don't get a chance to see the fuel tank on a car, and they're hidden and they're in different locations on the car. So, for example, for a typical rear passenger or rear drive passenger car, the tank is under the rear seat, and you're actually sitting on the fuel tank. For many SUVs, it can be all the way in the back of the vehicle. For the Ford GT40, for some of the sports cars, it's actually integrated into the console, and it runs fore and aft in the car. And so, but they are a highly engineered product, and they're designed to, of course, last the life of the vehicle. And the key is that they don't emit any hydrocarbons into the atmosphere.
Highly engineered has got to be really, I got to believe, what TI's bringing to the industry here, because to be able to co-extrude 6 different layers at the same time cannot be easy to do.
Yeah. Well, TI Automotive is a very global Tier 1 automotive supplier. It's been around for 90 years. We have 130 facilities around the world in 27 countries and 6 continents, and we have about 19,000 employees. So these gas tanks are actually being used all over the world, and we engineer them in regional application engineering centers in the major regions, with basic development, in the case of gas tanks, actually being done in Germany. But they are a product that require a fair amount of engineering know-how, if you will, not only from a product design, but also from a process standpoint. And we believe we've mastered that with our latest design, 6-layer co-extruded zero-emission fuel tank.
And I got to believe another advantage of plastic, too, is you can mold them to fit wherever you need in a car more easily than you can with a steel gas tank. As you just mentioned, the Ford GT, having it down the spine of the car.
Yeah, exactly. So we can really optimize the holding capacity of the fuel tank, because we can shape that plastic tank into every nook and cranny, if you will, in the general area where the fuel tank's being designed in the vehicle to maximize its capacity. Absolutely.
And you said all over the world, so the industry is really welcoming this kind of plastic gas tank, is it?
Yes, it is, and every country has their own specific regulations around hydrocarbon permeation for the entire vehicle. But this new technology that we've introduced the last few years, which we happen to be industry leaders on with the zero-emission fuel tank, is in fact taking off all over the world, including, for example, the Far East. But TI Automotive's fuel tanks and fuel pumps and the brake and fuel lines we produce, you'll find on about 2/3 of the vehicles in the world have one of our products. So roughly the 75 million vehicles produced around the world, one of our TI Automotive products are on 2/3 of those vehicles.
Well, good. I'm going to have to get out on the floor of the LA Auto Show and start checking those gas tanks to see which ones are plastic or not.
Yeah, crawl underneath there, take a look up, and see what you see, John.
Real good. Bill, thanks so much for coming in and bringing us up to speed on that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The clean diesels are coming. The number of clean diesel light vehicle models offered to North Americans will double by 2014. When given the choice, 1 in 3 customers choose clean diesel over gasoline engines. Why? Because of lower total cost of ownership, recouping premium costs in less than 18 months, longer range and better fuel mileage, lower CO2 emissions. Clean diesel, good, economical, functional. Bosch, invented for life.
Hey, Gene. Okay, this is live TV, man. This is what happens. We were supposed to do an interview with Porsche. Our guy bailed on us. They think, oh, we'll come back later, but we're live right now. Come on, we're going to show you some more of the cars that are at the west end of the show. Some people don't understand what live means. They said, oh, we'll come back in 20 minutes and do it live. And it's like, no, don't you guys understand? But that'll give us a little bit more time to show you some more of the cars here in the West End. So come on with us. And now it's really crowded on this side, more so than you saw on the other side, because everybody is getting ready. Obviously, we've got a Honda getting ready to unveil something here, and that's why you see the media all. Norm, give them an idea of just how jam-packed these things get, with everybody, all the cameras up on the risers, everything on the platform. But come on, we don't need to look at the backs of people's heads. Let's go find some cars.
California.
Hey, thanks so much, man. Yeah, good seeing you.
Yeah, great shows. Watch it every day.
Oh, that's cool. What's your name?
John Faulkner. Yeah, we met last year. I set you up with Fireball Tim.
Oh, yeah, you did. Absolutely right. Yeah. So we're going live right now on the web. So what do you think of the LA Auto Show?
You know something? There's hardly any concepts here this year. I'm really surprised.
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, really surprised.
Well, they got to concentrate on what they can sell.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I definitely thought that the Scion coupe was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Which they say is going to go into production, so that was nice.
No, that is a production car.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
We're going to show the audience more of the cars here. But John, thanks so much for saying hello.
Love to have you move to California.
Thanks, man. Okay,
John, I'm available.
We're going to show you. Hey, JC, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Really good, really good. So what we're looking at is a blank display spot right now, because that's where the MKS is going to be. I think tomorrow they're doing that. So, okay. Hey, let's go over and look at the, well, here, let's get out of the noise, because Honda's about to go with their press conference. And everybody loves to play really loud music, which is fine in my book, but not when you're trying to talk into a microphone. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, here's something. Yeah, no, we'll get there in a minute. Excuse us. Here's something. This is the first time at an auto show that SRT has its own display. You know, SRT's always been the performance version of Dodge, but now they've got their own display area. And we have to say hi to Michelle Naranjo. How you doing?
Doing well.
From
How are you
Roundabout. See, everybody's here. All the famous people come to the LA Auto Show.
It's
How
true.
you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Are you guys having fun wandering around?
Yeah, we are. So, anything that stands out at the show in your mind?
Oh, it's just great to see everybody showing so much stuff. I mean, there's a ton of reveals. There's so much to see.
Name one.
Oh gosh,
I'm
well,
gonna put you on the spot.
Let's see. Well, I did the Azera, of course, this morning, and we're getting ready. We're waiting for the very loud CRV, I think.
Yeah, the Honda CRV.
We just finished at Ford. Yeah, did Porsche a little bit ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, Michelle, and you can all catch her on Roundabout too. So.
And Open Line.
And Open Line as well. That's right. And that's coming up.
That's
right.
true.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Good seeing you.
Executive Vice President of American Honda Motor Company.
So anyway, look at this. They've got the Super B logo on the Dodge Charger here. I shouldn't call it the Dodge, it's the SRT Charger. But again, I think the real significance is that SRT has got its own display area.
You know, it really says a lot about the renewed strength of our industry.
Come on, let's go over to Ford, because I know we do have an interview to do there and we've got some good stuff to look at, but let's head that way.
Detroit and New York with an array of exciting and important models. Said before, what a great business to be in. We're going to uphold our end of that target today with two global debuts, beginning with the production version, the 2013 Fit EV, and then the all-new 2012 CRV that we'll unveil this week. Both embody our deep-seated commitment to continuing to create classic products.
And here we've come across the refresh that's being done on the MKS, and here's obviously an MKT under wraps. I don't know if they've done anything all that different with that vehicle, but what are they talking about? A lane keeping system, rear inflatable seat belts, and a safety canopy. So it's probably going to look the same. They're just adding some technology inside of it. But really, the big news for Ford at the show is the tweaks that they've done to the Mustang, which all of you who watch Autoline Daily heard about, and of course the new Escape. Funny, we're going to go take a look at the Escape at the same time that Honda's pulling the wraps off the CRV. But this is pretty good. I like what they've done with the Escape, although obviously I think this is, we'll have to ask the Ford people, but I think this is really the Ford Kuga in Europe that's now being brought over here. And let's see if we can find, I know we've got an interview with somebody at Ford here to talk to. Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. They're pointing out that I don't trip on this stuff. Okay, Norm, come on this way and don't trip. Okay.
By the flags.
This is it.
We're thinking of that Automotive, one over there.
Oh, there's another Flex. Okay, we're trying to show everybody the Flex, but again, don't trip on this thing. Oh. And here we've got it. Derek, well, excuse me, Derek.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Great to see you, John.
It's great to be here. It's finally good to connect with you, too.
Oh, that's fine. We were searching for you, by the way, so we're together now. Great.
Yeah, it's hard to find people when there's thousands of people inside the convention center.
Especially around the Ford stand.
Especially around that. Even though there's a major Honda press conference going on, you have an awful lot of people here.
That's great.
So tell us about, I think the big news, some of the big news from Ford at the show is the new Escape. All new for this market.
Yep, and it is, you're right, John, all new, and the way it looks and the way it drives. It's got a lot of great technology, fuel economy technology, 2 EcoBoost engines in the vehicle to give class-leading technology.
Wait, 2 EcoBoost, which ones?
The 1.6 liter and the 2 liter EcoBoost. Actually, we think about 90% of the volume will be EcoBoost engines. And then there's another really interesting technology, hands-free power liftgate. So the families that walk up to the cars carrying groceries and kids just walk up and a gentle sweep of the leg underneath the rear bumper and the liftgate opens.
Is it working on this car?
I don't know, because you have to have the key fob with you when you do it. Yeah.
Okay, because otherwise I'd say we'd give a demonstration to the audience
right now. We probably could set that up for you. We really could, John. Yeah. So I think that's really part of what you expect from Ford, a great-looking vehicle. What's really interesting about this vehicle is how sleek and dynamic it is, but the cargo volume is actually larger than the outgoing Escape, which was much more traditional SUV two-box design. So it carries all of that Escape capability, the outgoing, whether it's trailer towing, intelligent all-wheel drive, cargo space, but does it in a much more dynamic, bold-looking design.
Fuel economy, have you announced any numbers?
We haven't announced numbers. Some of the data we have indicated is that with the 1.6 liter EcoBoost, it's expected to be at least 5 miles per gallon better highway fuel economy than the outgoing Escape with its 2.5 liter i4.
That's a big jump, 5 miles a gallon.
It's a very big jump, and it's what we said about EcoBoost engines. So you're comparing a larger displacement 2.5 liter with a smaller displacement 1.6 liter. And to get better fuel economy and better performance.
And better performance.
Right.
See, that's the trick right there, to get that big of a jump in fuel economy and still have it perform better.
Yeah. And then there's a second EcoBoost engine, John. It's a 2 liter EcoBoost, and that's the premium engine in the vehicle. So you compare that to the other competitors that have larger displacement V6s, like 3 liter and 3.5 liter, and that 2 liter EcoBoost provides better fuel economy. You might expect that. It also provides better performance, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, right. So I was telling our audience that if they're in Europe, they might recognize this as the Ford Kuga. Is this essentially the Kuga model?
Well, it's all different from the Kuga today. It carries some of the exciting dynamic design cues, which is a hallmark of Kuga in Europe. But in both cases, whether it's in North America and Europe, the vehicle is all new.
Right, but just so people know that when we talk Escape, if they're in Europe, we're really talking the Kuga name.
Actually, they'll be seeing the Kuga, the all-new Kuga, at Geneva in March. And as you might expect, it has powertrains, for example, diesel powertrains, that you'd expect in Europe. So it'll be tuned for what's special for Europe, but in essence for us is a global vehicle.
And you've made a number of other changes on some of the product line too. We've got a Flex right here. Why don't we talk about that a second?
Sure, that's great. All right, we'll walk over to the Flex.
You changed the styling on the front end.
Yeah, so on the front end it has an all-new look. It's a much more what we think technical and modern look. So it gives a fresh look to really what is a very iconic design. But it doesn't just stop on the exterior. Interior has an all-new instrument panel. Brings in My Ford Touch to the vehicle. Has a whole range of technology, blind spot monitoring system, adaptive cruise control. Also importantly has rear inflatable safety belts, because this vehicle is obviously aimed as a people care with kids and parents in that second row. As you'd expect, better fuel economy. We took the naturally aspirated 3.5 liter and gave it a TIVCT, so twin independent variable camshaft timing. Better horsepower, 20 horsepower, and 1 mile per gallon on the highway. So a lot new, what you come to expect from Ford every 3 years, a lot new for customers in every one of our vehicles.
Derek, I know you're the engineering guy, but I got to ask a styling question. On the front end of the Flex, on the leading edge of the nose, you put the letters FLEX, and I don't know what it is. Norm, show that leading edge of the... I just read that as more upscale. What the heck is my brain doing in reading, just having the letters on the leading edge of the hood there?
Well, John, we spend a lot of time on and debate, frankly, on the badging of the vehicle, because you'll also notice it's the only vehicle that doesn't have a Ford badge on the front end.
Right.
Because
but that's a big change. You're going to be doing that with all your other, not the truck products, I understand, but the pass car products.
We're looking at the badging, but we'll always, for the most part, have that Ford badge on our vehicle.
But not in the grille.
Not in the grille, that's correct.
Because we were talking with Jay Mays about the Evos concept car at the Frankfurt Auto Show, and he was pointing out how the Ford Oval is out of the grille and on the nose of the hood.
Well, that was an exciting concept car, and a lot of those design cues you're going to be seeing in a little bit at the Detroit Auto Show. But having said that, you're right, the badging on flex, and it's also the same on the rear. You get that same flex all the way across, almost full width of the vehicle.
But what is it about putting the letters on the hood that my brain reads that it's more upscale?
There's a lot of premium vehicles that do that, and so we do look at this vehicle as an upscale people carrier, and aspirational from the very start was the intention of the vehicle, and I think the design and the driving experience conveys that.
Okay, and we've got Mustangs over here. Let's go talk about the Mustangs a little bit, because you've got quite a few changes coming for 2013.
Right, so if you think about Mustang over the last 3 model years, starting at 10, we gave it an all-new exterior and interior. 11 model year, a whole new set of powertrains. And 12, we gave it the Boss. And now we have basically a new look to the Mustangs, and you can see a much more aggressive front end as you look across the whole range of vehicles. It goes all the way from the V6 GT to the Boss. It also comes with some new technology. So it's HID lamps on the front, full LED on the back, signature lighting, so that when you're driving the vehicle at night, everyone will know it's a Mustang from the front. Mainly they'll be looking at it from the rear, though, as you know, John.
And, as it flashes past you.
As it flashes past you. And then the GT500, the Shelby GT500, really took a major step here. Horsepower is 650 horsepower.
Stunning.
And 200 miles top speed.
200 miles an hour, which is, I mean, that's an aerodynamic statement as much as it is a horsepower statement.
That's correct. There was a lot of work done on downforce and lift on this vehicle to be able to achieve that kind of vehicle speed. And you're right, it's all in attention detail around the aerodynamics of the vehicle.
Now, I also, we reported that it will not be hit by the gas guzzler tax. Is that because it's so low volume, or
no,
why?
That's because it's above, the fuel economy is better than what's required.
See, Derek, how can, I keep telling everybody, this is the golden age of horsepower. When you can have a 650 horsepower, 200 mile an hour car, and it's not hit by the gas guzzler tax, that's kudos to you guys. That's really impressive.
Well, I think a big part of this, when you see this today on the Ford stand, is just the range of vehicles that we're offering. So you see a great small car, great small utility like the Escape using EcoBoost. You see actually some other types of performance vehicles like the Focus ST. And then we hinted at a potential addition to our lineup of the Fiesta ST. So those are performance vehicles.
Well, if you're hinting at it, I'll take the hint.
No, we're thinking about it, John. But again, they use EcoBoost engines to deliver just great performance, and then you take that all the way to the Shelby GT500 with the 650 horsepower 5.8 liter engine. So it's providing everything for everyone, a choice, the power of choice as we like to call it, but always even fuel efficiency when you're talking about the highest horsepower vehicle in our lineup.
And then Lincoln has got the refresh on the MKS coming later. No, tomorrow I think is when they unveil that.
That's right. Tomorrow we have MKS and MKT that we'll be talking about tomorrow at the Lincoln press conference, and it's just another step in strengthening the Lincoln brand.
And I can't wait to see where that all goes. As you know, we've been talking about Lincoln a lot, and I know you guys are getting real serious about taking that brand to another level.
Oh, we're making a real commitment to Lincoln. It's a commitment clearly in the investment in the product, and you'll see that tomorrow, and you recognize 7 new or freshened vehicles in the next 3 years. It's a commitment in people. We've taken some of our very best people and put them on Lincoln full-time. We brought people from other premium brands into Lincoln to give us that experience base. And then there's the product strategy that will underpin it all. and then working with our dealer partners to create a truly premium consumer experience every time our customers come into the dealer showroom. So this is a commitment that builds on what we have today with the MK nameplates, and we're just going to keep going.
That's great. Derek, we got to run, but thanks so much for your time. I know you got to run too. I know this is a very busy show for you, but we really appreciate your time.
It's always great to talk to you, John. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
Take care now. Back to Porsche. Okay, now they tell us we can go back to Porsche, so bear with us a minute, people, because we got to walk back over to that display.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Are you filming?
Yeah. Here,
Hold on.
can we talk to these guys?
Oh boy.
Okay. We're live. We're with Ray Day here, the head of Ford Public Relations. Good show or no?
Absolutely. Terrific show. And good for Ford. Good to have a lot of new product.
Well, we just heard all that from Derek Cusack. What else can you tell us that's new?
Great to have product, great to have new technologies. It's great to see so many people at the show this year. It feels like it's coming back. It feels like the industry is on a stronger footing than we've seen in the past. And it's really, really good to see. It's a good barometer of what's to come, we hope.
Cool. Okay. And then we've got Chris Bruce here, too,
I think the show has been good. It's good to see horsepower wars, which always is good for the American car buying public. And it's good to see people slugging it out for the high volume segments like we have. We've had in years past. So I think it's good for all of us.
Okay. Sorry for putting you guys on the spot instantly like that. Okay.
Anytime.
Real good. See you guys. Watch your step there, Norm.
Yeah, it's a little height wide. I think that's fine.
Basically, we have
as far as like big dollars.
I know.
Screwed them. We need to interview them. They didn't screw up.
No bullshit. You weren't going to call me back at all. I know you. Yes, you. You lied to me.
We went from one thing to the next.
I was with Douglas when I called you.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. Oh, I was whenever it was that I called you. He was with another one of his. Yeah. It's kind of what's around when we were hanging. I was walking through with
It's Michael Bardage. He's the
Chief Operating Officer for Porsche North America. And that's who they're located.
So you're out? How long are you here? I'm here
What's that? Actually, my mom passed away in May, but I'll be up there.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up right here. We were hoping to get you the CEO of Porsche. Apparently the guy's in the middle of a meeting right now. We're going to have to sign off. Sorry, we tried to make it happen, but that's what you run into when you go live with things. You got to roll with the punches, and that's what we're doing now. But anyway, I really want to thank all of you for having tuned in for this live, Autoline Live from the 2011 Los Angeles Auto Show.
Ready to go? Yep. All right. Wasn't that a great show or what, folks? John and company sure covered a lot of ground out there in LA. Started off at GM with Mark Royce. Then over to Hyundai, John Krafchick. Stopped off at Mazda to talk to Jim O'Sullivan. Then they made a beeline over to Infiniti. Got Ben Poole, the vice president of the Infiniti brand. Then they talked to Audi, Anthony Folk. And of course, Derek Kuzak from Ford. They covered a lot of ground out there. Pretty interesting show, too. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have producing it. And we've got to thank our partner sites that have embedded this, because without them, we could not get the word out. So we've got to give a shout out to allpar.com. Thank you, Allpar, for embedding this. Autoblog as well. We couldn't do it without you guys. Appreciate it very much. DCAutogeek.com, DrivenMavens.com, MPGomatic.com, and of course, Ward's Auto. So thank you guys. Thank all of you for having embedded our live, the live feed of our webcast here. And with that, I think, Ben, I'm going to throw it to you so you can thank our sponsors.
Autoline Live from the LA Auto Show is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, Bosch. The number of clean diesel models in North America will double by 2014.
Okay.
Bosch Clean Diesel. Good, clean,
so no
fun.
More feed.
And by TI Automotive. Fluid thinking.
So yeah, more good stuff. Looks like Norm is wandering at the Porsche display a little bit, give you just a final glimpse of what's going on out there in LA. And we certainly hope you guys enjoyed the show. A few of the highlights that I scribbled down in my notes here. We got a good look at the Cadillac XTS, the production version of that car. Got a good look at the Mazda CX-5 small crossover as well. That's a pretty sharp looking vehicle. We also saw the Camaro ZL1 convertible. That's something I have got to drive. That is going to be an absolute blast. Wandering the floor of the show, we ran into the always fun Rebecca Lindland from IHS Automotive. She was talking about sales, global vehicle sales next year and the SAR, so if you've missed that, check it out. We also came across Larry Dominique, a former Nissan executive. I believe he's now with TrueCar, and he's working on residual values, setting the residual values of new vehicles. Very interesting stuff there. We took a peek at the Infiniti JX in our interview with the company's VP, and the thing is actually going to be built in the USA. Pretty impressive that they're building a luxury vehicle here. Lots of great stuff at the Ford display, of course. Brand new Escape, got a good look at that. Fascinating little crossover. 2 EcoBoost engines they're offering on that. Should be a hot seller. And of course, the Mustang GT500. 650 horsepower in that car and no gas guzzler tax. Find out how they did it, watch the live feed, which you can do right now. You can watch the recorded version of our live webcast immediately. It's available via Ustream, and we invite you to do that if you've missed any of the stuff live. So check it out, autoline.tv for more information on that. And chatters, we've got to thank the chat room and of course DC Auto Geek for helping us out on the back end. But the chat room grew considerably as the broadcast went on. Of course, we started out with Jonathan Brown and Miradart in the early hours, but we've got MPG-O-Matic as well. Car Chick showed up. Miradart, I already mentioned you. That's enough. GM Guy, Paul R., Swing Low 33. Lots of stuff going on in the chat room, lots of activity. You know, if you like what you see here, I invite you to check out Autoline After Hours every Thursday night. You can get in the chat room there. Lots of great stuff going on. But I guess it's time to sign off now. So thank you for joining us for the live webcast, our live presentation of what's going on out at the LA Auto Show. We invite you to join us again next time. And I think that'll just about do it. So thanks again.